Hey, while you watch today's video, don't freak out because we're not socially distancing. Because I promise you, we actually are socially distancing.
We're totally social distancing. In fact, the episode you're about to watch was just so good, we couldn't keep it to ourselves, and we recorded it months ago before COVID stroke.
Yeah, and like she said, it's so good. We just didn't want to be selfish and keep it to ourselves anymore. So enjoy today's episode. It is fantastic. You're going to get so much out of it. And stay 6 feet away. No, just stay 6 feet away.
Or farther.
Oh, wait, maybe this way.
All right, enjoy the episode, guys.
I have a confession. I'm so happy that my favorite Instagrammer, Jasmine Star, just finished her launch because I took a bunch of notes and I'm using them all in my launch right now.
Hi, I'm Sybil Solon. I'm an esthetician and spa owner.
And hi, I'm Alex Ellis, and I'm a body nerd and wellness expert, and we are business besties.
And bosses. Running your business, it's hard.
But we're terrible employees, so we're figuring it out.
I figured it out, but we promise to share everything we know about what it takes to make six figures.
And be brutally honest about what works and what sucks.
A bunch of it really sucks. So let's get started.
So true. Every time you say that. Welcome back to Skinfessional. On today's show, we're talking about the dirty word, workaholic.
Not workaholic.
And if it actually is a bad word, and whether you have to hustle hard to be successful.
And we're going to give you our secrets for keeping a healthy relationship, even though we are self-diagnosed workaholics.
Absolutely.
Raise your hand if you're a workaholic. Woo! Yeah, super workaholic.
Well, and this conversation came up because I came in and said, my husband called me a workaholic, and I was really offended. But the more I thought about it, the more I decided that's actually not a bad thing.
No, I don't think it is either. And I believe my response to you was like, of course you're a workaholic. You own a business. You are your business.
Yeah. I love my business. Yeah. I do. So that's what we're going to talk about because I know from my conversations with other business owners that we're not alone.
No.
That you too may feel like if there was a fire, you would grab your laptop and just hope that your partner got out.
Right? Well, and maybe your dog.
Oh, yeah.
Or cat.
No,
but children, I mean, hopefully they get on their own.
They can figure it out. No, we're just kidding. That's terrible. We're just kidding.
Please get your stuff up on the cloud.
Oh, my God. Seriously.
Please get your stuff up on the cloud. It's very important. And then back it up and then back it up again.
So true.
So I'm going to actually deviate from our notes for 1 second. So one of the things that I do.
Life hack.
One of the things that I make sure I do is I actually have a solid state drive that backs up every night. It's just like I plug it in and it's just designed.
But isn't everything already on the cloud?
But what if something happens in the cloud? What if the cloud's hacked or something? I like to make sure.
What if Skynet takes over?
I mean, who knows? Yeah. So I have a backup that's a physical backup. And then I also have a cloud backup.
You're making me nervous. I need to go home and back all my stuff up right now.
This is something I do, and I think it's very, very vital and important. Whether you decide to ever do that is your choice. But I have literally had problems with cloud stuff just being like poof or gibberish coming down as gibberish. Amazon's down for a week because they were hacked. Yeah, because they were hacked. Remember when all of the smart fridges and everything were getting hacked?
I thought it was just an episode of Silicon Valley. I didn't know that actually happened.
Yeah, that actually was being hacked. Like, that was a real thing.
Well, Jeff Bezos, did you hear that? Okay, we are so off track. He got hacked by the Saudi government.
Yes, no, it's
through
intense.
WhatsApp. Okay, so anyways, you know.
The important things in life.
You know that you're a workaholic when,
right?
What would you say?
I would say that you know you're a workaholic when you think about your job at least once an hour.
Is it while you're doing the dishes?
Yeah, like you think about your job once an hour. And also when you'll put your job before anything else.
Yeah. So if you're working on holidays, you're probably a workaholic.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. I mean, I think I've been a workaholic my whole life.
Well, and, as we started talking about this too, like being a workaholic is not a terrible thing if you have some boundaries in place. And that's really what we want to talk about today too, about how to maintain healthy relationships so that your partner isn't like, you just work all the time.
Or your friends or family. Like it's definitely a thing that people in your life.
Yeah.
I think one of the major things is like when you're your job, you are your job. So like we talked about, like your brand and your persona, are you the same thing? I think when you own your business, you are your business. It is like your child.
Well, and nobody does this if I don't do it.
Exactly. So like, it's not like I like went home at night and I'm like, well, I know that stuff is getting done. No, I still have emails to send out and I still have accounting to do. And there's so many things that people don't realize where if you have a real job where you're just like, oh, I go to work, I clock in, I clock out, you leave it.
Yeah.
You say goodbye at the door.
Even, like, I was just thinking as you're talking about what it takes to take time off when you are a solopreneur. It's about 3 times as much work in the weeks leading up to it just to have 1 week off.
And the weeks after?
I know. Someone was like, I would rather work through Christmas and New Year's, which is what I did this year, instead of doing all of that aggressive prep work to be able to take the time off.
Y'all need to make sure you take your time off. We're going to talk about that. But there is a lot of prep that you do have to do for that.
Yeah.
And it is, you wind up working the exact same number of hours and you have to like prep everything and everyone around you.
Yeah.
For it. Like for me, when I'm closing shop and I often take 3-week vacations, and that means there's like, I try never to take more than 2 weekends back to back because suddenly like hair removal problems and acne problems and all these things. But I take 3-week vacations. And when I do it, it's mindful. I'm like, okay, I made the decision to do it in my slow month. And I made sure that I told everybody way in advance, and I booked people out way in advance, and they're going to reschedule, and it's going to F everything up. And we have a whole episode about that. But these are the important things because it's also important for you to like not become consumed by your job.
Yes.
Right? And I think that's really the difference between whether workaholic's a bad word or a good word is, have you been too consumed by your job? And I think workaholic, when people are like, I'm a workaholic, they're like, I've been consumed by this. Whereas like when I say I'm a workaholic, I live my job. It's not a consumption. It's I'm doing it.
Well, and it's almost like the intention too. I can walk away at any moment. I just choose not to. And I feel like that's when workaholic isn't necessarily a bad word versus feeling that desperation that you have to work all the time. Like that would also be a really good indication for you if you're a workaholic or not. If I said, hey, let's go to the movies right now, and you really like didn't have any time constraints, like could you walk away? And if that answer is no, you might want to reevaluate your boundaries.
Well, I'm gonna put a caveat on that because I know for me to do things, I need a huge amount of lead up because if somebody calls me, and this is where my friends and family are like, you're a workaholic, you can't just call me up and be like, let's go out tonight. I probably have a fuck ton of clients.
Yeah.
Right? I can't just be like, okay. But I
hate spontaneity.
Workaholics, the death of spontaneity.
If it's not in my planner, I don't want to do it.
It's totally true. But what I will say back to somebody is I'm like, well, I can't do that now because I have clients. But what I can do is I can, let's schedule something now for like a few weeks from now. Now, I will find that in this day and age, people do not like to pre-plan. No, they're not pre-planners. So my friends, thank you, Alex, are pre-planners. And you might find that with you that all of your friends become like business people because they all have the same lifestyle where they're like, no, it's perfectly fine. I'll book out a lunch with you 3 months from now. And guess what? They won't cancel.
No.
It's on the schedule. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
They've been looking forward to it for 3 months.
That's so true. That's so true. Well, and another way to manage, relationships where you have a relationship with someone, whether it's a friendship or a partnership, whatever,
right.
Where they don't like to schedule stuff, you can always schedule stuff and not tell them. Like I put in my calendar every Sunday at 5:30, I know that that's going to be date night with my husband and we go out and do something. He doesn't care if it's scheduled or not. I'm just like, hey, what are we doing tonight? But he hasn't picked up on the fact that it always starts at 5:30, and that's fine. That's fine.
Well, then that just means like that you were thoughtful and wanted to put him in your life.
Yes, in
my opinion, that's what I would say.
Yes,
I will say that one of the things also when you're talking about like your job and that it sometimes is like who you are, is that we have this problem with our loved ones where sometimes they don't understand how important our job is. They'll be like, it's just like a hobby, right? Right? Or like, you don't make that much money yet. yet. You're going to be making all the money, and then you can shut the F up.
You're like, oh, that's cute. You have an online business.
And so people will be like, oh, you have a job. Especially when, I don't know how it is in your profession, but in my profession, we are looked down on all the time.
I think
because we're beauty professionals.
Right. And I think, too, if you can't fit into, like, a traditional box or model, like, people don't know where you fit, and it makes them uncomfortable, and then they ask you questions. Yeah, but, like, what do you actually do for work? I got that one time. I was like, no, this is my work. But so also to that, because I really do think, like, people who have traditional jobs, they don't get it. That's why they're in a traditional job. We need people like them in society. And so they literally cannot wrap their head around why you work and do the things and put up with what you do for your job.
I can't believe you work till 10 o'clock at night. I hear that all the time because I work till 10 o'clock at night, sometimes midnight. And they're like, I can't believe you work that late. Wait, you work every weekend? I'm like, sweetheart, I haven't had a weekend sustainably off in like 28 years.
No, but you did have a 3-week vacation where you got on a cruise ship and sailed around the world.
I work hard. I play hard.
Yeah.
But I plan all that out. So, like, my vacations are planned out to the end of 2020.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my summer's already planned.
Yeah, because that's how it has to be. Like, I have to pre-plan that out. Whereas other people, they never take vacation.
That's so true.
Right?
But one thing I want to just, like, tie a bow on that and how to manage I want to say, like, how to manage how other people see you and what you do. I started, what do you do for work? And I said, I run my own company. And all of a sudden calling it a company, even though it literally is just me in my slippers.
And put on your CEO hat.
Exactly. And that people, they can, even though they don't really get what you do, they won't ask that many questions because you've framed it in a lens that they can understand.
Yes, this is like that episode from Friends where nobody knows what Chandler does.
I haven't watched them all yet.
Oh my God, you're so young.
I know. Sorry.
But yeah, so there's an entire thing where, like, nobody knows what Chandler does. And tell me your favorite Friends episode, by the way. Nobody knows what Chandler does. And so they're like, they do this whole, like, trivia thing. And they're like, well, what does Chandler do? And everybody's like, something with statistics and balls or something. It's hysterical. And you're like, I sometimes feel like people don't know what you do.
Oh, no. No, they have no idea.
I mean, you just like sit and talk for a living, right?
I make things for a living.
Right? And you roll around on the ground.
Intangible things that you can't touch for a living.
And you heal people.
Yeah, no, so actually having a really good elevator speech is also helpful. So I say I run my own company and I help busy people move well, maintain their body, and get stronger so they can enjoy life without pain.
That's beautiful. I would be like, I'm just a healer. I make a fuck ton of money. You wish you were me.
Well, then, you're sitting on the beach sipping your Mai Tais, and you're like, yeah, you wish you were me.
It's true.
That's a whole other thing. Like,
it is. And as a workaholic, I think that, I know for me, there are times where, we take our businesses for granted, right? Because they're just here. They're with us. Mm-hmm. Have there ever been a time where you've, like, looked around and been like, I built this. This is what I do for a living. Mm-hmm. I'm a boss. I'm the badass bitch of the world.
Yeah. Like, every time I get a group of people together, like that, even though my business is online, like physical people in the room together, or like when we go on a retreat and we're like sitting there at a meal the first night and like everybody's around the table, I'm just like, wow. Like, that's so cool. That's so cool. Or like when you create a new product, like right now I'm working on a planner, and when I get that printed planner for the first time in my hands, it's going to be like,
feel it.
Wow, like this is something that I birthed from an idea and was able to put it into play.
Creators, man. Mm-hmm. I have to say that there have been times that I come into my office and I'll like look around and be like, this is all mine and I built this. Mm-hmm. And then there are other days where I'm just like, see ya, office. Don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
But even then, I walk away being like, that's all mine.
Yeah.
Like, there's always a part of me that knows that this is mine.
And another thing, too, that's fantastic, and why I don't think being a workaholic is a bad word and loving your job, because it uses a part, like, how lucky are we that we get to do something that every day, like, it lights your brain up. And we were talking about this before we started recording. Like, even if I have to do something where it's not really all that exciting, I know how it fits into the greater picture and the bigger mission of, like, what I'm trying to change in this world. And so that's okay that I spend 90 minutes trying to problem solve some stupid captions and for a video, because it's for a bigger purpose, Right. And anytime I have taken on side jobs just like purely for the money, and you literally just like pack away your creative brain and, put a sad towel over it and push it into the back. It's, it sucks. And there are people who like, that's their everyday. And so I always like, yes, I think about work all the time. Yes, I can't walk away, but I love what I do. And like my brain really likes it. And I like getting to do what I want to do every day.
It's true. And I am my own boss, which I am the meanest boss ever. I work myself too many hours. I work myself through meals.
Yeah.
I work
we need to talk about that.
Work myself through meals today. I make concessions for people all the time that like sometimes I'll later be like, what the fuck was I thinking when I made that bad choice? You often will put other people first. And I think one of the things in relationships is that the people around you see that you put other people first who aren't them. They're in their mind strangers. But they don't understand that these other people or the other things that you're putting first are the people who become your family, right? And also that they are the people who pay your bills. And so in some way, and for me at least, they are kind of more important sometimes. Because what is it that saying that like you're the meanest to your family or something?
Well, yeah, because they're not going to go anywhere.
Right? Like I know that the people around me are going to love me. It's why my old time clients, I have no problems being like, hey, can you move for me? Because I'm trying to get somebody else. I'm trying to fit somebody else in, right? I would do this for you too. And most of my clients are like, it's cool. If they can do it, they will. But if they were a new client, I would never have asked that.
Right. Yeah.
I don't have a relationship yet.
I don't know you yet.
Yeah. But that's how I know that like my clients become like family. Because I can totally ask for things that I'd be like, this is a little awkward, but like, I broke down once and I was like, can you come pick me up? I'm on the side of the road, but if you want your facial, can you come grab me? And she's like, of course. Oh my God. You don't even have to ask. Where are you?
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. But I do think there is something to be said about setting boundaries around your work time.
Yeah. Boundaries.
And being selfish enough to take care of yourself first with, I don't know, like nutrients every day.
Nutrients every day is hard.
This is interesting because my brother is just transitioning to be working from home, and he's worked in an office forever. He's a computer engineer, and people would be like, you need to eat, and drag him away from his desk to go eat, or at least give him some indication like, oh, it's probably lunchtime for some people. I should go eat. Whereas I never have that problem. And maybe it's just because, well, also I don't have clients sitting in my lobby that won't leave, which is definitely a problem talking. But part of being in love with your business and being able to show up for your business also is doing the things that are going to allow you to keep doing that. So we talked about this, in other episodes of taking care of yourself and setting boundaries. Like if you work every single day till midnight, like I know that there's also mornings though that you take off. And
absolutely.
Yeah. You cannot go 100 miles an hour all day, every day and expect to still like what you do. And so part of that process too is just like paying attention. If I find that like I really would rather sit and watch Cheer on my iPad, go watch that. Allowing the time and space for that sometimes is really super important too.
Very valuable lesson right there. It's true. And I think you get when you're first in business, you're not as good at it.
Oh, you're off,
right?
Terrible.
Like
terrible.
When do you think that you suddenly got like? Is there a moment in your life where you're like, this happened, and I think that this kind of made a light bulb go on that I need to take care of myself, or I need to do something a little differently because I am a workaholic?
Yeah, probably about 2 years ago, because I was doing some coaching with other business owners who had been doing it longer than I had. And that was a big thing for me because I think as a newer business owner, you get to a place where you're just like, oh, I could just hustle my way to the top and I'm just striving. And if I just work harder, it'll all happen. And somebody said, like, you're not your business. You could close it and walk away and you would still exist. And you are your most valuable asset. So what are you doing to ensure your health for the long run?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, you're right.
Those are valuable words. Everybody listen to that again. Just rewind, listen to that again, because I have listened to that and taken that in.
And actually doing it is like a totally different thing.
This is totally different thing. But I truly believe if you keep listening to the same thing propaganda, you keep listening to the same thing over and over again, it becomes true and you do it. Is there anything with like relationships? I know we talked about like both of our relationships and how like we both have incredibly good kind of like spouses, right? They're very understanding. Mine is super supportive, and I've always appreciated that. Yours is also supportive. But I know, so one of the things, we're coming up to Valentine's Day, and one of the things that my boyfriend and I have done, we don't really celebrate Valentine's Day, but we get together and we sit down and we make a goal for the year for our relationship. And the goal for our relationship is something that we're going to work on. And he might have a goal and I have a different goal, but they're together. They're making a package goal. And then we also talk about how we thought we did on that year's goal, right? And mine over and over again was, I wish you'd spend more time with me and work less.
That was from him, right?
That's from him, yeah. And so he would give this to me, and I'd just be like, yeah, all right. And in my mind, I'd be like, it's never going to happen. I'm so busy. Or I'd have the intent where I'm like, yes, I'm going to do it. And I'd be like, okay, I'm going to schedule off days. So we get like like one weekend a month, and then like a Tuesday night or something. And they're just going to be your days. And what wound up happening is I just wound up scheduling clients into it anyways, and then we just didn't hang out.
So boundaries.
Well, I've gotten better. I have gotten better. So, but that was when I was first in business. And I want to say it's probably the first 5 or 6 years.
And I feel like you're just trying not to let everything catch on fire. Well, because your first couple years of business,
well, the other thing is, like, it's hard. I've said this before. It's hard to say no to money.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you are running your numbers and you have goals, and hopefully you have goals, and you're like, I want to make this much money, and I'm not making that. But if I take 5 more clients, and this is when they can see me, that's when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know? And so I understand the kind of the pain and the suffering that comes along with that. And you should talk to the people around you, whether it's your mom or your sister, your brother, your spouse, whatever, the people who are around you that you care about you, and you explain to them what's going on. Because once I kind of sat down once and I was like, listen, my work is always going to be more important than you. And it was a hard thing to say, but it was the truth. It was my truth. My work will always be more important to you because my work is me. And at the end of the day, I'm the most important person in my life. Like, I love you. And you're like super close to like the next important person in my life. But I have to be the most important person in my life because who else is going to make me the most important person, not you? Yeah.
Well, and that too, I feel like not allowing your worth to come from somebody else. So I think, if you're feeling like, oh my God, I could never be that way, like codependency might be something to Google and think about. I mean, I definitely I want to exist. I love my business. I think about my business all the time. It makes me giddy to think of the awesome messages and all the cool stuff that's happening. But I also want to have a life outside of my business. Yeah. And so that for me is why I schedule things with my partner.
I'm pointing at her and saying schedule.
Literally, it's in the calendar.
That is what made everything magic. Yes.
Yeah. And unlike you, once it's in the calendar, it's sacred. Yeah. Siri owns my life.
So can you make your stuff sacred? For me, if you're like me and maybe you have trouble making it sacred, what I found that I had to do is I had to put something in my calendar that was something that I had to go to, that I couldn't say no to. So I see a lot of theater. You notice I'm at the theater a lot.
Yeah.
I see a lot of theater. I have a lot of outings. I have a lot of things because it's paid for. I've paid for that thing, and we go together and we spend that time together and we spend time around that time.
Yeah.
And that was for me something where I was like committed to doing it.
Yeah. That's a great point.
And so that's what I did. I am so proud that you're able to just put it in your calendar and keep to that.
Well, and that's the same for me for my workouts too. But you stick to your workout.
I do stick to my workouts, but that's
because you paid for it.
A, I paid for it ahead of time. B, if I don't, I just break down. I am not a healthy person. My stuff just breaks down if I don't constantly take care of myself. I'm an old raggedy lady.
So, side note, everybody should be taking care of themselves all the time, and you will fall apart if you don't. That's just being a human.
It's 100% true. It's 100% true. So that is why it became such an important thing. But once again, the priorities, and I think that's why my man would be like, I don't understand why I'm not a priority to you. And I'm like, I love you. Your love is guaranteed back.
Yeah. Well, it's I love you, but I also love my business, and I love you both very differently.
I do. Well, because they're your business is like a child. And I say it all the time, but it is like a child. That's why when it fails, and we have a whole episode on that, when it starts to fail, like
it feels so personal.
It feels so incredibly personal. It's why when somebody comes in and they're not happy with what you're doing, you take it to heart, you know, even though you probably shouldn't. There's so many things, whereas if you worked like just like a regular job where you came in and like I worked at Bath & Body Works for a few years. I didn't care. People were like, this product doesn't work. I'm like, sweet, return. People come in now and they're like, this product isn't working. I'm like, let's have a long discussion about what isn't working. Are you sure it's not working? It's not me. It's not me.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything I can for you.
Yeah. Well, I think that's also having just like pride in what you do. Like you can't really be proud about scented candles and stuff. I mean, unless you're making them.
I was like, say maybe you really could.
You could. There are people who do, but yeah, no,
it's harder.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean too. Like everything, I'm like, oh my gosh, like how can I make this so much better for you? And like, please stay.
Right.
But one thing, I think it's really important too. This is like bringing all these things, like being a workaholic and having that intention around work. Like I said, if you can walk away, or not, but that sense of striving.
Yes.
Because I am in a launch period with my business right now, meaning enrollment is open for people to purchase, and I just got like more sales than I've ever got with 3.
We're high-fiving.
300%. Okay, so we went from 0 to 3. So like, don't get too crazy here. But
3 is
energetically,
like so huge.
yeah. But it feels so different, and like my brain is like, you're not celebrating this enough. You don't appreciate it enough, and it's like, no, I've just detached my worth from how my business performs, which also allows me to be full in when I'm there and also walk away at the end of the day and be okay. That doesn't mean I'm not thinking about it and I'm not problem solving and I'm not just like obsessed with it, but I also can walk away whenever I want.
That is very wise. And I don't think I've personally ever attached my worth to my business because I'm like, I can just start another one. It's going to be fine. But that is very powerful. If you are sitting around and being like, I'm a failure because my business is failing.
That's exactly where I was.
Yeah. If you're sitting around thinking that, that's not the truth. Businesses fail all the time. I think this is easier for me because I did grow up in a family. So my dad was an entrepreneur, and I say that with quotation marks.
Quotes.
Yeah. I know how to run a business because I watched my dad run 3 into the ground.
Yeah.
We went bankrupt so many times it wasn't even funny. And it helps me to look at failed businesses because you like don't do that, valuable lessons learned, and then I'm looking at somebody else's business, not your own, right?
Yeah.
But I literally lived amongst failed businesses and like how it like destroyed our family and how hard it was and creditors and all those things. And so I think because I lived among that, like I literally am like, there's always another business.
Right.
There's always another opportunity. And you are not your business.
Yeah.
In the sense that of your worth.
You can always walk away.
Yeah. Of your worth.
And I think
very
you can
powerful.
Even come to that realization, and then insecurity can still slip you right back into it. Because that was, remember I said 2 years ago, and then, I mean, if you listen to the episode on failure, like I was right in that. And so it's just so interesting the progression that happens. And really it all comes down to intention and like how you think about your business. And like, I'm still going to talk about it all the time, and I'm still like obsessed. And like I said, in a fire, like
it's like I'm not thinking about my art. I'm thinking about like what things do I need for my business.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I keep most of my stuff in a lockbox, like a fireproof lockbox, because like and backup. We talked about the backups.
This is like also terrible. Like I'm legit concerned of sabotage from a bad neighbor right now. And I'm like, we need to be prepared for this whole building to go up in flames.
Yeah, no, she legit has like some concerns about that.
Cat boxes, cardboard, like that's the other thing too. Like how are you going to get a cat out of the apartment?
And I put mine in a bag. I've trained mine to just go in bags. Freya, though, would never.
Yeah, so how are you get Freya out?
I'm going to chase her out, hopefully.
You're like, just run, Freya, run! Be safe,
so we live in California, so we're in California, and we just had a giant earthquake here.
I missed it.
Which apparently Alex slept through.
It was only like a 3.6. That's not giant.
It was a giant earthquake.
No, like 7.9 would be a giant earthquake.
It felt pretty big, and I've been living here a long time. So we had this earthquake, and I'm like, my boyfriend's in the bathroom, of course, and like I'm sitting out, and I'm just like sitting. It's like 11:30 or something. I'm just sitting like working on stuff, and the earth shakes. And guess what I was working on?
What?
Our podcasts.
Whoa. It's earth shattering.
Yeah, I was working on our podcast, and I like literally picked up my computer and was like, I was like, I said the words out loud. I haven't backed up yet.
So you hit save and just book it. Oh my God. That's why I put everything in Dropbox. I don't have anything.
Well, it was on Google Drive,
computer.
but I still was stressed because, like, what if everything went down? Google's right here in California. What if they exploded? I don't know. This is the fears that I have.
Wow.
This is serious fears that I have. These are the fears that I have.
It's true, though.
I did want to talk about, for a second, I want to touch on your time.
Yes.
So I think a lot of time with workaholics, it becomes about time.
I don't have any time. I don't have any time.
I don't have time for that. I don't have time for you. I don't have time for this.
Yep.
Sparsing out that time is really valuable. And we were talking when we first talked about this. There's this really interesting movie called In Time, where essentially you live in the future where your time is your currency, and when you're out of currency, when you're out of time, you just die.
Oh my God.
And for me at the time, I'm like, that really spoke to me because every minute of my day especially when I'm in a treatment room is planned out and accounted for, right? I mean, you've been doing your stuff a long time. Can you just feel 15 minutes? Do you know about when 15 minutes is? Every SC can.
Well, so here's the thing. I just listened to another podcast about focus and attention. And that's also like boundaries. I set up very clear boundaries around social media because I can sit down. I fall into Instagram, literally fall. Then I'm like, oh shit, 30 minutes just passed. Like, that was a waste of time.
Yeah. It can be. And I understand that. I am less likely to do that just because probably I'm an old lady.
I would have died in this future.
Yeah.
So many times.
And like, so your time is currency. And I think about that a lot. So that is what has stuck with me, that film. I remember nothing else about it. So I think Justin Timberlake was in it and he was hot, maybe.
Oh, I need to look this up.
I know. And so what happens with your time, I know that every person who has a salon or works on people, you totally get this feeling, this sense of what time is because you live and die by the clock. Like, I have 50 minutes to do this. I have a 10-minute turnover. I have 6 minutes for lunch. Everything is just so decided for you. Yeah. But then when you start running your own business, you also have this other part of your brain that's like, okay, well, now I have to do things that are not per se time sensitive, like sitting on social media and doing accounting and whatever. Do you have any suggestions for people? Because you are the woman who has many suggestions for things on how to how you manage your time like that. Do you set timers? There are all kinds of ways.
I mean, it depends. I definitely use timers. So I take a 10-minute break for lunch. And one of my favorite things to do, this is also I take lunch breaks because I'm reading books that I want to read. Yeah. And I look forward to that. And so I just make Alexa do it.
Okay.
Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes, but then you have to actually get up when the timer goes off. So that was a mistake I made this morning. I was on Instagram and 35 minutes passed by for my 10-minute break. So, oops. So it happens, right? It's also, it's fluid. Some days I'm really good at it and other days I'm not. And I would say the days that I'm not is because of social media. So I would say, and I think one of the underlying themes that we haven't really talked about, but this whole episode is know yourself, know what your tendencies are, know what your stumbling blocks are so that you can set yourself up to succeed by, weaving and ducking to avoid what is going to trip you up.
Right.
So definitely timers. And I try not to overplan my day.
Okay.
Because that feeling of oh my God, I don't have enough time usually comes because I've underestimated how long a project is actually going to take me. So why I worked through Christmas and New Year's is because I said, well, 6 weeks is enough to do a new launch, right? Had I sat down and written out all the things that need to happen, write 37 emails and create an entire new presentation, but don't forget the outline for it and build a web page. Wait, no, 2 web pages because it's different. I mean, that didn't take 6 weeks. I got it done in 6 weeks.
The strategy of it all.
Yeah, but I would have much rather had 12 weeks to do it. But then also it came down to money. I was like, I need some damn money right now, so we're going to make it happen. So that's also owning your own business.
Once again, the money, right? right?
Yeah, the money drives for sure. Well, yeah, because, like rent and stuff.
I know, money, man. It makes us do crazy, wild things, like not have boundaries.
So I know, yeah, it's true. But okay, I guess here's my thing too. And this also is like the workaholic. Having like Rachel Hollis calls them seasons.
Yes.
So if you have a season, which I'm thank God just out of it, and I'm almost like stumbling around like I don't know what to do with myself anymore. I don't have to work 15 hours a day and I don't have to work till 9 p.m. every night.
Right.
It can happen for a season, and that also gives you the energy to keep pushing. Mm-hmm. But if it's like that day in and day out all the time, it's time to reevaluate.
Yeah.
So for sure, timers, don't underestimate, like really sit and think about how long something's going to take you. Maybe ask somebody else. Like when I asked a friend, she's been taking 3 months to launch it. That should have been a red flag for me that 6 weeks was not enough.
What?
No, not enough. But I did it anyways. That's a problem, is that I always finish it. And then I'm like, well, you could do it. 6 weeks is enough.
Once again, workaholic mentality. Workaholics
so
like, I just push through. It's going to be fine.
Wow. I learned nothing.
It's okay. At least you know that you're a workaholic.
Yeah. And it's not bad. It's not bad. But so yeah, have it be a season, right? So have boundaries, respect your boundaries, schedule things. I think that's another good thing.
Scheduling things is good.
Yeah, it's weird. So, thanks to a gift from you, I'm going to go see Frozen tonight at the Pantages.
If Frozen comes to you, it is so good. I loved it so much.
The stage play, not the movie.
The movie's fine too, but the stage play is incredible.
Yeah, super excited. So I've been looking forward to it all week long, and this has been the slowest week of my life. And I was like, this is so weird. So if you want to have more time, have something that you're really looking forward to, and it's going to make, like, literally, I had the feeling multiple times this week, oh, I guess I'm done. I can walk away now. This is weird.
That is wise words. Because, I'm going to use the framework of Disneyland because we're here in California. But remember when you were a kid, and I'll use Christmas. Remember when you were a kid and you, Christmas was super exciting?
Yeah.
It was so exciting. And, it took forever to come.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh my God, is it ever going to be here? I want it so bad, right? And now, we blink and we're like,
oh shit, it's December.
Christmas went by me and I barely noticed.
Yeah, that's so true. But I don't remember the exact, I just know that research has shown that having something to look forward to does make your whole week that much easier, or your whole life. Maybe it's like a trip that you have coming down the pipeline or whatever. Having something to look forward to makes the slog more tolerable.
Yes. Well, they say, so the research on that, I don't know if you remember, because I remember weird things, is they did it on vacations. So that people actually have more enjoyment from planning the vacation than often actually experiencing the vacation. Oh. So I've actually learned that sometimes I just plan vacation knowing that I might be canceling it. It's cool. The planning of it was the fun part.
It's so funny.
But that is actually where that research came from. Oh. It was vacations. So they had done this huge research on people who plan vacations, and they found that people had much more enjoyment and stimulation. But then they actually went on vacation, and often they were not as happy because it wasn't either as good as they thought it was, or life happens.
They probably weren't being very present and in the moment either.
Often that is true.
So then my whole argument about scheduling stuff ahead of time is also going to help you have something to look forward to.
Absolutely. And I know I schedule a bunch of stuff. Once again, I'm sure that everyone out there has learned valuable lessons about scheduling their life in advance.
And then following it.
Yes.
That is the trick. But I think too, if you can't hold, it's sort of like a promise or a contract you make with yourself. And if you can't hold that for yourself, how are you going to be able to do that for anything else?
And we're all going to work on that because, listen, I've been doing this for years, and it is probably the hardest thing. I have good boundaries on many, many things. But when it comes to my work, it does take over. And it's my child, and I'll do anything for my child. B, also, I really like money. And when people ask me, how did I make $350,000 one year? And I'll be like, well, I just worked a lot of hours, and I pushed really hard, and I sold a lot of product, and I made a lot of phone calls. And so when people are like, it's hard to run a business.
Yeah.
It is hard to run a business. If you think that you're just going to wake up and it's going to be easy.
Passive income.
Yeah.
Ha, ha, ha.
Maybe for some few people that's going to work out, or maybe that's a side hustle later that eventually pays out. But I've been doing this a long time. I love it.
You have to.
You have to work.
Yeah.
You have to
so
work.
True.
Estheticians coming in a lot of times now will talk to me about the fact that they want to work 4 days a week, They're like, oh, Sybil, I want to work 4 days a week. I don't want to work Saturdays or Sundays. I want to work like 10 to like 5. And I was like, are you planning on making money? Because one of the things we have to do in this industry is we have to work the times that nobody else does, right? And that makes us look like freakish workaholics because whenever people see us, we're working. And I'm like, I didn't work between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. But I worked 4 to midnight.
Yeah, your work days.
I work Saturdays and Sundays, you know, but I have all this time during the weekdays earlier when you're all at work.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point.
Right. For you, you're just at work all the time because it's at your home.
Well, and as you're talking to, I'm like, this is a great argument for why one might consider a business in which you don't have to exchange time for money all the time.
Yes.
So I know that's something that you're working on too.
Yeah.
And that's one of the perks of an online business is like people pay, but I don't have to be standing dressed in front of them.
It's true. But at the same time, if you love what you do.
Yeah. No, I still do stuff in person, too, because I found that, like, it's way more enjoyable. Well, not way more enjoyable.
It's different.
It's different.
Yeah, it's different. It's definitely
so
different.
I think there's definitely a balance to be had. But if you are just, like, hustling so super hard and not feeling the financial reward from it, maybe it's time to consider something other else. Streams of income.
Right. And this is okay. And this is a whole probably different episode. We'll talk on it for just a second. Estheticians in general, and probably people in salon and everything, I know esties, 3 years is our tap out. Like most people work in this industry 3 years. I think it's the same with like yoga and fitness people. Because either you injure yourself, you just burn out. Okay, you just burn out. Or it's
not as lucrative as you thought it would be.
Yeah, or you start to fail. Yeah. You know, because by the way, in 3 years, you're probably still hustling hard. And people are like, I thought this would be easy. Once again, it's not easy. But I remember listening to Jay Warwind, which you don't know who that is, but everyone out there does. Jane Warwind is the creator of Dermalogica. And I was lucky enough to hear her speak twice. And she spoke about how the reason why she started Dermalogica was because after a decade, she was sick of being an esthetician, but she still wanted to help people. And I remember sitting, and I was new. I was in school still when I listened to her talk because Dermalogica is here. And I was like, I will never feel like that. This is the greatest job on earth, right? I'd had 2 other careers before that, and I'm like, this is the greatest job on earth. 10 years in, I'm like, Jane, I understand what you're talking about.
I hear you now.
Oh my God, I am so sick of this life some days. And it hasn't stopped me from it has not stopped me from loving what I do, but there are definitely days where I get a little bit more jaded about stuff.
Well, you've also evolved within the business.
Yeah.
So that's something for me too. You know, I started teaching a lot of weekly yoga classes, and then I pulled back on that and I did more education, which I know in your world too is something you have started to do as well and can be way more lucrative than just doing, but you still need to have like that one-to-one with a client to still understand, you know, like the people who you're teaching, like what are they going through?
Right. It's absolutely true. And I have also one of the things I've done, this is a whole different episode, burnout episode. We're going to save that for burnout episode. So now I'll give you a teaser for a second, but we're going to do a burnout episode. One of the things that I know I've also done is besides also kind of making, doing teaching and mentorship and, you know, conversations and customer care, which I'm super into. Also, I continue learning.
Yeah. So
you got to continue learning. If you are getting bored by what you're doing,
go learn something.
Go learn something. Yeah. I know. And that's not as much of a workaholic conversation. Well, it kind of is. It's self-care.
It is. I mean,
self-care.
You got to keep it fresh, you guys.
Yeah. So because workaholics, we do burn out. Because we burn bright.
Well, you burn bright and you burn out if you don't have boundaries and do something other than work.
Make boundaries.
That's my lesson for the day. Make some boundaries.
It's true. Well, I think that we've had a very good episode on workaholics and that it's not a bad word.
No.
And if you're a workaholic out there, we want to hear from you.
Maybe we should have t-shirts. Just
I know, I'm workaholic
and proud.
Also, I want to have a hashtag sad towel because that cracked me up.
Wait, what?
You said I was under my like sad towel. Oh. And I was like, I want a hashtag sad towel. Hashtag sad towel.
Well, you just picture it too, though. You know exactly what that is.
I was like, oh, it's so sad.
We've been there. That's part of it. You know, you do what you need to do to make your dream come true.
It's true, and you don't hope for the best. You make it the best. Mm-hmm. You know,
a business isn't built on hope.
Nope, not even a little bit. All right, so we have a Skinfessional box. And it is here.
Every time.
I know.
Every time. It's a voicemail.
It is here for you to ask questions. You can also DM us. You can find us lots of different places. But the number is 818-473-5277.
Or you can hit us up on social media. We are at Skinfessional. You are your skin fitness expert.
I am.
I am at Halafamala. Come say hello. Tag us. Let us know what you're thinking, how you're feeling. Show us your workaholism and proud.
Yeah, and give us your questions. We totally want them. We are also, our podcast is out there for everyone, and it's on pretty much everywhere, apparently, except for SoundCloud. I heard you all. I'm sorry it's not on. I'm sorry it's not on SoundCloud. Okay, it's on
make it happen.
20 other things.
Well, although by the time you're listening to this episode,
maybe it'll be on SoundCloud at that point.
It'll be on there.
Okay.
Yeah, but whether you want to listen, whether you want to watch all the funny faces we make,
I know it's here for you. So until next week,
keep your secrets to yourself.
Unless you're telling us.
Okay, bye.
Bye.